if all four of them were divisible by 4?
50.
50. If they were all 50, wouldn't the average be 50? So make sure everybody's realizing what I'm talking about. You don't have to do any work. I've already done the work. 4 numbers, the average would be 50. But now I'm saying, what the hell can you say about those numbers? Can you say anything about those numbers? Can you say what each number was? Hell no. As long as they do what? That's the trick. If I have 4 numbers, and as long as they average, what the hell does that mean though? How do I find an average of 4 numbers?
Add them all up.
Add them all up.
And then divide it by how many there are.
Divided by the numbers, so divide by 4 then, right? And I told you that the average was 50. So what do you get when you add them all up? 200. Beautiful. So any 4 numbers that add to be 200, their average must be 50. And that's nothing magic. That's nothing amazing. It's like, duh, Jeff. Because what do you divide by 4 to make 50? 200. So any 4 numbers that add up to 200, their average must be 50. How are we doing so far? You know what averages is, but I don't know if you ever thought about them like this. It's kind of cool. So this problem, number 14. Continuing in the Emily versus Meg, we have Wallace-Memmer. I want to have a Wallace-Memmer in my class. He's got a 79, a 93, a 91, and a 68. And he wants to know, what does he have to make on that last test to get an 80? He wants, he wants at least a B minus. He doesn't want to make any variation of a C. This sounds like something you might be interested in yourself at some point, right? We'll have to make on the stuff left, Jeff, to get this. Come on, you know. I'll say, well, remember that problem we did? The mistake people make is they do an average of these numbers and then somehow think that's going to help them. No, it's not. Because then the average of these is actually 4 times more important than this single test. Wouldn't it be then? You're not going to say these 4 tests are the same as that last one. No, no. They're all the same weight, right? So you want an average of 80. And you've got how many total tests here at the end? 5. So considering what we just talked about, what's a really cool way to do this problem then?
X over 5 equals 8.
Yeah, they have to all add up to be what? If 5 of them average to be 80, they all have to add up to be what?
400.
Added divided by 5 is 80, so they have to add to be 400. So if you figure out how much you've got so far, can't you just see how much more you need? Do you see what I'm saying? That's why in certain classes they give you like points. They say test 1 is worth 200 points. Midterm's worth 500 points. Anybody have a class like that? Where they list points?
Yeah.
And it's easier as a student to tell you how far you are along, because you know the total points you could have and how many points you actually have, right? I don't like that myself at all. So how many points does this Wallace have so far?
331.
331. So how many more points does he need?
69.
69. There you go. So this would just be 69. How's that? I mean, is that decent? Yeah, Jeff.
I'm sorry, I don't get how you got the 400.
So I know I have 5 tests, and I know they're all equally weighted here, right? If they have to average to be 80, that means if I add them up and divide by 5, isn't that how I get the average?
Yeah.
I know it's got to equal 80. So if I multiply both sides by 5, I figure out what they have to actually add up to be.
Okay.
They have to add up to be 400. Cool. Now, I'll show you the way I would do this problem. That's not even the way I personally would do this problem. And you never have to do anything the way I personally do it, right? But I would take, now watch this, I kind of, well, it's the way I do it, I guess I would kind of like it, but 80, how far is that? That's 1 below 80, isn't it? So I'm down 1. That's 13 over 80. That's 11 over 80. 12 below. So if I add them all up, these kind of cancel. Do you see that? I'm 11 over currently, so this grade could be 11 under 80. 11 under 80 is 60 freaking 9. Right? They're actually, the math in both of those is the same. It's just here I'm not adding them up. I'm kind of trying to see how far away it is currently and then see how far away my last number can be. It's really the same thing you're doing here.
Can you do that again? Like
Like if I had 10, 14, 19, and 28, and you want to average it to be, you say, what do I need on that last quiz to make a 20 average? This is how related to 20. Minus 10, minus 6, minus 1, plus 8, right? I'm 8 over there, right? So now I'm going to figure out what my last number has to be. Negative 16, negative 17 plus 8 is negative 9. It's got to be 9 over. I've got to get a 29 to get a 20 average. If it's out of 30, good luck. You guys kind of get that idea? That's what this whole class is about. I'm going to try, there are certain chapters in here that will blow your mind, right? Or hopefully it will, if you let it, about your preconceptions about math. The math that we do didn't have to be this way. We have 10 fingers. That's why we have a base 10 system. If we didn't have pinkies, we need our thumbs to evolve. But if we didn't have pinkies, we'd have a base 8 system. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11. There would be no 8, 9. There would be no digits like that. That's kind of freaky. It's a whole chapter devoted to what our math could be like. And that's when we study other civilizations. They had their own way to approach things. The way we do things is not the only way it could be done. This part, though, is really just how comfortable do you feel with numbers just to play with them, to see what you're allowed to do. And there's a ton of different ways to approach these problems. That's why I just really want to see your work, because some of you guys are more creative with certain problems than I am. And I want to see that. Or some creativity is bad, right? There are creative answers on tests that just are nowhere near right, but I want you to feel comfortable enough to start playing with this stuff. Start playing with it. Okay. So any questions on that? 1-3 should be pretty straightforward. Just, can you pick out the numbers and use them the right way? Just give me the answer. Okay. So the chapter we're getting into, just to kind of give you a heads up, normally gives people some trouble at first. But once it clicks, it's pretty straightforward. And has anybody ever taken a philosophy class? All right, so some of you guys have taken philosophy, you might be going, oh, crap. I don't know, did you like philosophy, or are you? Yes, cool. Okay. All right, yes, sweet. No, okay. There's a part of philosophy that actually intersects with math, intersects with English, and that's called logic. All right? So a lot of us have, when I say the word logic, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Common sense.
Common sense. That's one way of, those are tools that I can apply when I'm trying to think about something logically. Critical thinking, I love it. Again, that's a process that I try to use logic in. Me being a super geek, I think about Spock. Logically, Captain. But again, super geek on here. So, I want to show you how you can play with logic, how there's a certain structure required. So for example, one big place where logic is applied is in courtrooms. And a lot of times people would say that's not really logic, but they apply arguments, but they try to make it sound like they're implying something that they're not, so that they give the wrong impression to the jury, so that they have a bit of a doubt. So they vote one way or the other, right? So there's certain form that you have to follow. There's a form you must follow. So for example, here's something you guys might have heard about before. Like, if it rains, then I'll bring my umbrella, right? So far, so good. If I bring my umbrella, then I'll be able to fly. Now, looking at those two, yeah, exactly, sure. What can you say, what conclusion could you bring out of that? If it rains, then I must be able to fly, right? You guys see how that flows? If it rains, I'm going to bring my umbrella. If I bring my umbrella, then I'll be able to fly. Well, if it rains, I'll have to be able to fly. This is a sound argument. Does it mean the conclusion is true?
No.
Why was the conclusion not true? Because of this here, right? This premise was false. But an argument can be solid, can be strong argument, but one of its pieces could be false. So there's a difference between, is it a solid, strong argument versus is there a piece that's faulty, right? So if you follow the pattern, it's a strong argument. Is it a true conclusion? No, right? And that's what's so frustrating, because if you have a bad lawyer, you could be innocent, but they didn't make their argument correctly, and so you were found guilty, right? That's how that could work. Or if the other side made their argument too strong with some misleading statements, the jury might have thought the opposite and went the other way, right? You guys kind of follow what I'm saying? I mean, that's where the creativity in English comes in. That's the first. When I say that, the first thing I think about is lawyer, because they are very creative with how they word things. So let me show you this this clip, and I really, again, I think not quite half of you guys said you had seen Abbott and Costello before. Thankfully, this is, don't get me wrong, this is not from when I was a kid, all right? I'm not that old yet. They've been around forever. These videos. Let me find it real quick here. Oh, I think I already said the videos for the lecture were put up there. I haven't put the link up there yet, but they'll be up there. Let me see. Abbott, Costello, math. Okay. There we go. Perfect, perfect. Poor little thing. Okay. Maybe dim the lights for me. Can somebody grab those? Thanks, man. See if this is, you can hear this. I think it's as high as it can go.
You can turn the volume on that.
This is as high as it'll go. Shoot. All right.
You can turn it on the overhead too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's right. Thanks. You can tell I show videos in this a lot. There we go. Oh no. Next up. Next out.
We just have to listen.
Yeah, that's next up. Okay. So everybody just lean forward and be quiet.
How about on YouTube?
Oh, it's already been up.